Hey everybody, welcome to Ellis Mowers. This is part 3 of this Craftsman LT. This is an LT2000, the MTD brand of it. Part 2, I feel like I rushed the end of part 2. That's because I needed to get this mower out pretty quickly after I got it fixed. And I did. And the buyer he says he's enjoyed the mower so far. We have one minor thing that's going on with it, and it might involve changing out the drive belt and stuff on it. But like I said, he's mowed with it a few times. As you can see from the deck, I had cleaned it off before I sent it over to him. So he's got a few mows out of it. The deck and everything I've been told is doing well. He went to back it out of his garage and then put it in forward or drive, whatever you want to call it, on this MTD. And he ended up having an issue with the mower not going anywhere. Pressed the pedal, didn't go anywhere. So what happened was it ended up being a transmission pulley fell off of it. Transmission pulley's right over here. And I found with it a bolt and a nut. The bolt's in it, and it looks like the bolt actually would work. The nut does not. So I don't know what the nut came off of, unless they just threw it on there and I didn't, Thing is with MTD transmissions, if they're working, I don't touch them because they're working. And it's an MTD transmission. Y'all know that they're not the most fun to work on. So I didn't bother it. It was driving well, albeit it was driving a little slow, but it didn't really matter to me because all these MTDs drive differently. It's got the foot operated poor man's automatic transmission is what I like to call it, or poor man's hydrostatic, whatever, because it's basically like a glorified 7-speed shift on the go. That's like just a variable transmission instead of a Veradrive. Anyways, I'm gonna jack this thing up. We're gonna find a bolt and a nut to put this back on. We're gonna put the drive belt back on. I might go in depth with y'all. This pulley is a little, you can hear the bearings on it are a little worn on it. Or that just might be the way that pulley is. Doubt it. But we'll put this pulley back on. We'll drive it around, see what happens with it, and if it makes it any better. So when we get the jack, we'll get rolling. Alrighty, y'all, I'm going to show you the best that I can what's going on down here, and I've got a couple things I don't know exactly what's going on, but let's see what we can troubleshoot while we're down here. So this right here is the park brake mechanism, and it looks like that there used to be something right there that attached the park brake to the mower or to something down here, and I can't find, I don't know exactly what it is. I'm going to have to look at a diagram to see. However, this right here is where this pulley bolts in. So it bolts in under the mechanism. So you can just pop it. So what it does is the belt, if you can see it without my hand, goes around like this. And you push the pedal, and it tightens the belt up, going like this way. I'm fairly certain, because I don't think it goes the opposite way, unless I am sorely mistaken. I want to say this is used as like a tension item or something like that. That's the way it was on there originally. So let me push this all the way back. We're going to screw this back on. Again, this belt is extremely loose too. Whenever it's not in motion, it might need replacing anyways, but let's just see what we got going with this. So it slides up in there like that. I'm going to, what also I'm going to do is, so it's a self-locking nut, and what I'm going to do, I might get you on this side so that you can see me better, is I'm going to put this nut on top of it. That way I lock it down, as opposed to the other way, to where the bolt is just in there, because the bolt, I guess, it must have just worked itself out from vibration or whatever. So I'm gonna get my 1/2 inch ratchet real quick. So give me just 1 second, and I'm gonna come down here and get a 1/2 inch wrench, and we'll put it on. So give me just a second, I'll be right back. So I just basically put the nut on the top. And these are 9/16 instead of 5/8, or instead of a half, like I mentioned, so I apologize for that. So the nut is now up here, and then I just tighten the bolt as tight as I could without stripping it with 3/8 inch drive ratchet. So now what I'm going to do, I would like to adjust the drive a little bit, see if I can make it faster. So now I'm doing 9/16 inch, taking this off, which is a little adjustment nut here. We're going to make it tighter, which means that I'm going to push this up and out, which I hope I can. Let's see. Hopefully I can. Push it up and out. Come on. There we go. Alright, so now what we're going to do, hopefully I can see it. Let me check. I'm going to get you back a little bit here. Yeah. So we want this travel to be shorter. So what we can do is, I've already loosened this 9/16 inch nut up some. And I'm just unscrewing it. I'm going to unscrew this some. I'm actually going to unscrew it pretty far, because we have a lot of slack. Honestly, this mower could use some belts pretty soon also. So I'm going to do that. Pop this back on up here, because he was mentioning, and I knew that it was, I just didn't really want to mess with it, that the travel of the pedal, or that it doesn't drive very fast. So that's why I'm doing what I'm doing here. That goes to something, and I don't know what it is. Okay, so let's see. I feel like we got better. It's a shorter pickup time for the belt, so that's good. That's what I feel like we got. We'll see, you know. I'm not a MTD transmission expert. Like I said, that goes to something, but I don't have a clue what. It almost looks like it would fall on this pedal here. That's probably what it does, guys. But it can't, because unless there's a spacer that I'm missing. Because what that does is it brakes for you. So like if you let off the forward pedal, that's exactly what this does. If you let off the forward pedal and hit the brake, so the brake will actually cause it to spring back. And now it's not. So I could see about if I can find a spacer that would make this work right. But it didn't come, no, I didn't have one that came with the mower. So, and I also don't want this to be getting caught in the pulley itself. With having it attached. So, because it's kind of in a good spot now. So, let me go ahead and just let it down. I'll check the oil and everything on it just to make sure it's not low on oil. And honestly, we just drive it around and see what happens. Alright, I'm going to keep y'all back a little bit. Like I said, I'm just going to drive the mess out of it for a little while to make sure that the transmission pulley doesn't get loose or fall off or anything of that nature. Again, I might go back and revise what I did to add the brake back, but like I said, I don't know 100% if I want to do that. Let me crank it up, see what we got, if it's any better than what it was. Seems a little better. Let's ride a little bit. Alright, and forward. Alright, still a little slow. Let me look under the mower one more time real quick. Just to make sure that the pulley's not trying to loosen up on me again. No, just kind of that. This park brake mechanism is kind of in the way of it. Just the way that that bushing right there, I guess, has been kind of compromised. The belts are pretty cracked, which means that they're probably pretty stretched. So what I am going to do, I'm going to inform the customer that I'm going to go ahead and put some belts on this thing, because they're kind of in rough shape, but they work. And then this whole deal with, you see that this bracket right here is just loose for the park brake. So like, I'd be having that grinding up against this and all that jazz, unless I can find a spacer that's tall enough that I can get by with. But that's kind of rubbing on this, so I do want to fix that the best that I can. And let me see how I'm going to go about doing that. I'll catch up with y'all in just a second. Alright, pardon the sun, but we're going to get this, we're going to take this long belt off first, which is a 5/8 here. We're going to take the pulley down. We just need to pull the problem is, I'll show you real quick, if y'all can see it. The guides for these MTD mowers are so close to the belt that you have to do that in order for it to work. So, pulling this off, or I'm just going to loosen it some. I'm not going to pull, I don't want to pull it off all the way. And that gets me around the guides right there. Might be easier to pull it off all the way, actually. Let me go up top here. Hopefully y'all can see some of this. The sun is kind of killer. Alright, going up top. We'll put the pulley back on a little later. Now, if you didn't have a pulley, or if the pulley's so rusted on you can't get it off, then you have to be a little more creative. So now, as you can see, I was able to just take the belt off of these two pulleys. It just goes over like so, over and around like that. So now what I'm going to do is take this pin out up here for the parking brake. Lever. Actually, I don't have to do that. Never mind. I can just feed it through up top here. Take it around that guide right there. Feed it through up top. Now we're going to go to the back of the mower. We have the secondary belt over here too. So I've already taken the battery off of this. And the secondary belt I think is going to be a little bit more difficult than the primary, but we'll see how bad it is. Shouldn't be too terrible. It's just, you know, you can do a darn Craftsman belt in about 3-4 minutes, and then this belt of course takes a lot longer. So it's on the variable drive pulley on the bottom down here. I don't know how well you can see that. And then I have the other belt that's attached up here up top. And it's almost easier to take the fender off of this thing in order to change these belts out, but we're going to try and do it with it being down here. Hopefully. Let me figure out my next approach and we'll get back to it here in just a second. Alright, I got some light. I got to be creative because I got to hold the seat up at the same time. But I was able to get the secondary belt off that pulley up top there. The rear belt, I should say, just by turning it. And now I'm going to take it off of these remaining 2 pulleys. I just have to take the primary or the front belt off of this Vari-Drive pulley right here on the bottom, and then I have to take the rear one off of this pulley here on this side. So what I got to do first that'd probably be marginally easier if I let down this jack. I apologize if my arms are all in the way. I'm taking the battery brackets out. And now we're going to get the top belt off, hopefully. Hopefully it's not in there so tight that I can't get around the pulleys. I might have to take that pulley off. Hopefully this Vari-Drive one's not. There we go. Okay. So I can get it around the variable drive one pretty easily. Thankfully. At least I got the bottom one up and around, or the top one up and around, excuse me. Just get it out of the way for a second. Oh, MTD drive belts. Why do you have to be proved to be so difficult? Pulling this one around the variable drive pulley. I wonder if I can push it forward, if that does anything. No. Okay. Let me figure out an approach to get the rest of this off. This is like a, I believe it's a 3/4, and I'm going to get that bolt off right there with this pulley. That pulley. And I think I got to take that off completely. I'm going to get under the mower and see if there's any better way. So just stand by. I'll tell you what I end up doing. But MTD, why do you make your drive belts so difficult to get off compared to the other mowers? I don't understand. Good news, y'all. The old belts are off. Now the real story is, can I get the new ones on? The 2 biggest things I ran into are the back pulleys here. So this rear pulley here, the big one, I loosened up, but with my 15/16, it bound up against the deck height adjust lever, and so that made it fun to try and get back on, I guess, which I kind of got it back on, but I got to get it back off, that way I can loosen it up enough so that I can get the belt around it. This pulley right here has a guide that's so close on the back side of this that actually it's just so close to the back frame overall that you really have to muscle it through there in order to get it off. So let me get the new belts, which are right there. Make sure that they're measured to size. We'll get the long one on first, and then we'll get the short one on second, since the long one's on the bottom, the short one's on the top. Back in just a second. Alright, so I got belts all over the place, but new belt, this is the short belt, so that's that belt. 754-04208, that's probably going to get you most everything that has this type of operational transmission. This is it's on here somewhere. This is the big one, 754-0467. I'm going to do my best to show you the length difference between the old belt and the new belt, so hopefully it'll turn up. Alright, old belt and new belt. Again, here's the thickness difference. This is so much thinner because it's just wore out. And lengthwise, hopefully y'all can see this. So there's a lot more flexibility and stuff with this old belt that makes it stretch out a little bit more. Now the other thing is, the challenge is going to be getting this new belt on over all these pulleys, but we'll get there. Alright, and then the new belt here, again, new belt versus old belt. Old belt's going to be a little bit more stretched out. So first order of business, we gotta get the big one on. I don't know how I'm gonna get it around that bottom pulley, but we're gonna try our darndest, and I'll let you know the updates as I work on it. Okay, so we have made progress, albeit slow. I took my little pry bar here and that ball peen. I was able to get down under there, grab the belt, and just kind of hit it into place over the pulley. Be really careful, you don't want to hit it very hard. Now, another thing that I did, if you look under here, there's these 3 screws that kind of keep the guides in, and I unscrewed them, that way it gave me a little bit of play. There's a third one in the back that you can't see from the angle that I've got this. But we've got the belt up now. So the belt routes through this guide and this guide on the inside of it, and also on the inside of the variable drive pulley. Come over here. I don't think I've got this 100% right. I think it's supposed to be like that, but we're just going to get that out of the way for a second if we can. Yeah, we can do that. Okay, so belt goes in like so, and the belt's also going to come in. I need 2 hands for this, guys, but what it's going to do is it's going to go in like that, right there, and then it's going to go around here up to the front pulley, which I have to put the main pulley back on, but that's the way that it goes around. So coming from the back, hopefully this makes sense, around this side, around that, and around like this, and around like that, and that gets us up to the front pulley. Okay, so let me get to working on that, and catch back up with y'all in just a second. Alrighty, y'all, one other thing I noticed was missing was the spring here. It kind of, it's like a confidence spring for the gear shifter. Helps it lock into place, so to speak. It's a very cheap way. But this spring right here was not connected. That spring right there. I have connected it on this side, and all it just does is hook onto the gear shifter, and then it hooks on right here in the battery tray, and that way it helps inspire confidence that you're gonna stay in the right gear. It's not an essential item on this, but I guess it's there so that whenever you shift it into gear, because this was kind of popping out of gear every once in a while, but it wasn't bad enough to the point I didn't even know it was just a little cheap spring that did that. So anyways, like I said, the front drive belt is on, and you can see where it's kind of working like it's supposed to. And now we'll move to the rear drive belt. I do need to figure out what I'm going to do with that mechanism right there, because it is dragging on my pulley there. Honestly, I don't know. I think it serves the purpose of, like, if you hit the brake, it pops it out of gear. But I mean, all you gotta do is let off the pedal and the thing stops basically immediately. So Part of me just wants to knock it off right here with an angle grinder, which I could do rather easily actually. If I just take this bolt off and just put it in the vise and knock it out. That way you've still got the parking brake. However, the parking brake really doesn't do much at all on this thing anyway, so I'll see what I do with that. Let me go ahead and struggle to put on this rear belt here. That way that we can actually drive this thing. Like I said, if this was a Craftsman, this is a 5-minute job. Since it's MTD, it's not. But anyways, I'll stop complaining about that. Okay. Drive belt number 2 is on, save for one thing. So it slid over the top. It slid over the top half of this Drive pulley with no issues. So that was good. Again, I already had this big pulley loose, and so I was just able to wiggle it through the big into the guide there, and then I just lined up. There's like a little, it's almost like your blades, it's like a little star pattern type deal that the pulley slides into those star grooves, and then you just put the nut back on. It's a 15/16. That top pulley, the small one right there, there's a spring attached to it. I took the spring off of it because these are spring loaded pulleys, I guess. I took the spring off of it and loosened that 1/2-inch bolt right there, and that allowed me to slide the new belt, because these new belts are thicker, because they should be OEM belts. I know this first one I got was Oregon. The other one is a fitted belt. You saw the MTD part number on it. So now all I have to do left is put this spring back on, which it can be tricky. I'm not gonna lie, because you have to fit the spring. Where is this? Where does this thing go? So the spring, there should be a hole here somewhere. Oh, it's this right here. You fit it right into this, which goes the other way. Sorry for the shaky camera here, guys. It's just a little hard to do this under the mower and get a good shot. And then, so it just hooks on right there, and then it comes over here, and I had to do a little bit of welding job on this. So I'm just going to take the spring. It comes under all the belts and everything. I think it comes under all the belts. Oh, it has to. And it's going to pop in right there. And I'm going to use, what I'm going to use, if you watch Terrell Fixes All, he uses like mechanics wire and whatnot. He hooks it on, hooks it through, and then takes some pliers or something along those lines, pulls the spring past this right here and into that groove, and you're good to go. So let me go ahead and do that next, and then we're going to test drive this thing. Alright, that spring is now in place. Again, I just braided up some mechanics wire, used some pliers, pulled it. It's easy as pie. That's a Terrell Fixes All hack for you there. I just cut that excess off. So let's look at the situation now. So what that does is it provides tension to this rear drive belt. And now your front drive belt is where it's supposed to be. Your rear drive belt is where it's supposed to be. I'm going to work on this while I've still got it on the jack here. I'm probably honestly just going to cut it off about right there. I don't really know the purpose of that brake, because as soon as you let off of the pedal here, this thing is going to stop anyways. So let me get this off, which looks like it's just a matter of taking this clip off up here and see what we can do here. Because I do want to I want to still have the brake and everything for this, but obviously the putting in gear and stuff is going to work just fine. I know this is not the most ideal thing to do, I get it, but this mechanism is bent just a little bit as well, and so it's not 100% aligned, which doesn't help matters. And what this is doing is it's rubbing up against this pulley, so I want to prevent that. So let me take this bolt off, which is a 9/16. Take this clip off, which is right there, and then we're gonna troubleshoot that piece just so that it doesn't have any issues anymore. Alrighty, y'all, here's the situation. So on these mowers, there's this little cap thing that you pull up that allows you access. I'm going to go ahead and put it back because I'm done. It allows you access to this pulley right here. As you can see, I cut some off of this just to get it out of the way. It allows you access to that pulley right there, and it's all some sort of conundrum, conniption, whatever, in order to get it to where it operates the way that it should. It's still not 100% lined up, however, I think it's going to do the job. It's 9/16, you got to hold it, so you got to like reach around and hold a 9/16 inch wrench, or it's a ratchet and socket, while you do this and get everything lined up. So it's not the easiest thing to do, easiest thing in the world to do, but it works, hopefully. So everything's back on, springs back on, the other belts, and I apologize if this is so shaky here. It's really, really hard to film under a mower. So I do need to put that bolt back on for the pulley. I'm going to put the pulley bolt back on, let this thing down, and hopefully we'll be driving this thing out of here. Alrighty, y'all. Tell you what, these MTD drive belts take a little while to change with all the moving parts and whatnot you got to do. So I'm going to pick y'all up on the way. We're going to crank it up, make sure it drives. Hopefully it's more confidence inspiring and it drives a little faster than it did before I changed the belts out. Let's take a drive here. Oh, much better. I do smell a little bit of belt burn though. Probably just needs to wear them in. Check it real quick though. Oh crap. I know exactly what's wrong. I didn't tighten up the pulley for the drive, and they're hitting on each other right there a little bit, and they're not quite aligned either, I don't think. I'm just checking, guys. Sorry. I think it's like not spaced correctly or something. Almost like this pulley's a little bit lower than this pulley for whatever reason. So, alright. So, I need to obviously put that back on. I don't know what I was thinking. I even said I was needed to do it, and I didn't. So, let me go ahead and do it. And I might drive it a little bit more just to see what's going on. Alright, y'all. This space represents the Craftsman leaving. I did not get it filmed before it left. But I cut the grass, and I had to adjust the transmission a little bit. I think I showed that to y'all earlier in the video. And I believe that purpose for that brake that I said didn't really have much of a purpose, is to keep the tension off of the drive belt so that the brakes actually work. Although I adjusted the brake, and I don't know if the belt might have been a little too tight or something, but it still tried to roll on me whenever I was going forward and backwards. I warned the owner about that, and that's a very common occurrence for those pedal drive MTD transmissions. So that just kind of is what it is. So, you know how them transmissions age, they don't really age very well. But anyways, the mower's gone. I did get the yard cut with it, as you can see, and hopefully it'll be gone. Pulleys didn't fall off or anything like that. I reinforced it with the nut. So hopefully this video was informative for y'all. I know this video series is filmed over the course of a good little while, but that was probably the most profitable lawnmower that I had from that big lot of 5 lawnmowers I got at the very beginning of the 2020 season. It's just taken a while for it to get fixed, and then it came back to me and all that good stuff. So I appreciate y'all watching this video. Hopefully y'all enjoyed the content of everything that I did to it, and the whole cam deal, engine swap, intake push rod replacement, all that good stuff. As you can see, lots more content coming in the near future. We got a lot to fix to get ready for the 2021 season. There's 6, 7 riders right there, and 3 or 4 in the garage. So we're going to be locked and loaded whenever spring hits. And like I said, I appreciate y'all watching. You can catch me at Ellis Mowers 09 on Instagram and Facebook, and I will see you on the next video.